Coincidences happen in life all the time. However, some are creepier than others. Sometimes bad things happen that were so coincidental that it's difficult to imagine that more sinister forces weren't at play. Here are the 10 creepiest coincidences in history. Number 10 are the Finnish twins. In March of 2002, Finnish police released a statement claiming that two men had lost their lives while crossing an icy highway in Rahe, a city north of Helsinki, Finland. Each of the two individuals died shortly after being struck by a truck while trying to make their way across the roadway on their bikes. However, there's a horrible coincidence to this story. The two men were actually identical twin brothers and died around 2 hours apart. However, the second brother didn't know that the first had died right before he joined him. Number 9 are missing twin towers. Released on June 22, 2000, Deus Ex is an action role-playing game that takes place in a futuristic New York City, a future that somehow included an unsettlingly accurate, though accidental, prediction. Due to memory issues, the New York skyline in the game was missing the twin towers of the World Trade Center, which back in 2000 would have been standing tall, until the 9/11 attacks a year later. To explain the missing buildings, the game added a piece of story which claimed a terrorist attack destroyed them. Number 8 is Violet Jessop. When it comes to surviving shipwrecks, nobody had more experience than an Irish nurse from Argentina named Violet Jessop. Working for the White Star Line, Jessop was on board the RMS Olympic when the transatlantic ocean liner collided with HMS Hawk on September 20th, 1911. She soon transferred to the RMS Titanic, where she was pulled from the frigid waters after it sank on April 14th, 1912. But as if that wasn't enough, she finally was on board the HMHS Britannic when it struck a mine on November 21st, 1916. Stories like this make you wonder if it's something more than just bad luck. Number 7 is John and Arthur Malfour. There have been numerous studies conducted on twins, with many pairs claiming to feel the emotions or pain that their sibling feels. However, what happened on May 22nd, 1975 was beyond any such connection. John and Arthur Malfour, twin brothers living in England, both experienced chest pains at the same time that day. The two were not near each other and wound up at separate hospitals, where each of them died shortly after being admitted due to heart attacks. Number 6 is Richard Parker. Edgar Allan Poe published one novel, but eerily foreshadowed unsettling events. Released in 1838, the narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of Nantucket told of a crew on a broken boat, eating a sea turtle before being forced to kill and eat a mutineer named Richard Parker. However, alarmingly, in 1884, a real ship, the Mignonette, sank, forcing the crew into a single lifeboat. These survivors also ate a turtle before killing and consuming a crew member, a boy who just happened to also be named Richard Parker. Number 5 is the Titan in the Titanic. In 1898, author Morgan Robertson released a novella titled Futility, in which an ocean liner called Titan that's described as unsinkable strikes an iceberg and winds up at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, much like the RMS Titanic, a real ship which received the same fate which had many of the same details just 14 years later. Both ships had too few lifeboats and sank at night during the month of April. In fact, there were so many similarities that the writer soon found himself denying claims that he was a psychic. Number 4 is Jason and Jenny. Birmingham, England residents Jason and Jenny Cairns Lawrence have found themselves in close proximity to not one, not two, but 3 terrorist attacks, and each time they were supposed to be on vacation. First, the couple were in New York City during the World Trade Center attacks on September 11th, 2001. In the second, they were in London during the July 7th, 2005 suicide bombings that killed 52 people. And finally, in the third, they were in Mumbai, India in November of 2008, when terrorists killed nearly 180 people. Was it sheer bad luck that death seems to follow these two on vacation, or could it be more sinister forces at play? Number 3 is Bruce and Brandon Lee. When Bruce Lee died on July 20th, 1973, he was filming his 5th movie, Game of Death, in which his character, a movie star, is shot by an assassin on set. In the scene, the gun that's supposed to be loaded with blanks fires a real bullet, and Lee's character gets shot in the face. However, in a freaky and tragic coincidence, Lee's son, Brandon Lee, was killed on the set of The Crow, which was also his 5th film, when a prop gun somehow wound up actually loaded, and he was shot, just like his father's character 20 years earlier. Number 2 is Hugh Williams. The Menai Strait, which separates the island of Anglesey from Wales in the United Kingdom, is a dangerous waterway for ships, especially in December. But while the winter waters have claimed a number of lives over the centuries, it's those who survive who make this place truly mysterious. On December 5th of 1664, 1785, and 1820, ships sank in the strait, leaving a lone survivor each time. But although that in and of itself may not seem strange, what is strange is that each time the survivor's name was Hugh Williams. And number 1 is Little Bastard, the Cursed Car. On September 23, 1955, while showing off his new Porsche 550 Spider nicknamed Little Bastard, James Dean received a chilling prediction from fellow actor Alec Guinness, who said that he would die in it within a week. Dean was killed driving it exactly 1 week later. However, the story continues. When salvaged parts from the car were put in 2 other cars, both crashed, killing one driver and seriously injuring another. It would later somehow survive an unexplained garage fire and kill and injure several others before it mysteriously disappeared. So, these were the 10 creepiest coincidences in history, but what do you make of them? Are they just simply bad luck, or was there something else going on here? Leave a comment below and let us know.